Welcome to Smart with Screens. I'm Schnelle Acevedo, and for 14 years, I have built digital marketing campaigns for major brands such as Disney, Netflix, Amazon, Procter & Gamble, and my job was to get you to click, to scroll, and to engage. Now, I teach families and schools across New York City how these systems actually work, the algorithms, the psychology, the tricks, so you can make informed decisions about technology. This is Smart with Screens, and let's get into it. Let me ask you something. If I Googled your name right now, not your name and your LinkedIn, not your name and your business, just your full name, plain in a search bar, what would come up? This is actually one of my favorite questions to ask my parents when I have parent meetings. Take a second. Actually think about it because someone is doing that search. Maybe not today, maybe not this week, but at some point, a hiring manager, a college admissions officer, a potential client, a future business partner, a date, someone is going to type your name into a search engine and start forming opinions about you before you even said a single word to them. And here's the thing they're not telling you in school. Everything you have ever done online is participating in building that picture. Every post, every comment, every like on a controversial thread, about every argument you got into on a public page. And there are a lot of those. It's all there. And together, collectively, it tells a story about who you are. Today, I want to talk to you about your digital footprint, what it is, what it's costing people right now, the easy traps that too many of us walk right into, and 5 specific things you can do today to start cleaning up and building your online image with intention. Because your digital life is not separate from your real life. It is your life, documented, searchable, and permanent. Let's start with the definition because I think that a lot of people hear digital footprint and picture their search history, and that's only really just a part of it. Your digital footprint is the complete trail of data you leave behind every time you interact with the internet. It has 2 sides. The active side is everything you deliberately put out there. Your posts, your comments, your shares, your profile photos, the accounts you create, the opinions you put in writing on a public thread. The passive side is everything that happens without you consciously choosing it. The cookies tracking you everywhere where you browse. The data collected when you use an app. Your location being logged. Your name appearing in someone else's post or photo. Together, they form a permanent searchable record. Not a record of who you intended to be online, a record of who you actually were, including the impulsive 11 p.m. comment you left on a political post, including the photo from 6 years ago you thought was funny, including the opinion you shot off during a heated moment and never thought about it again. And here's the part that most people don't genuinely understand until it's too late. Deleted does not mean gone. Screenshots exist. Cached pages exist. Archive tools exist. Automated screening tools used by employers and admissions officers can surface content you deleted years ago. The internet, it has a longer memory than you do. Now let me give you the research because this is not theoretical. On the job front, 92% of employers now use social media to find and vet candidates. That is not a trend. That is a standard. And 70% of employers, 7 out of 10, use social media to actively research candidates before making a hiring decision. It is now a standard part of the process, the same way a background check is. And here's where it gets costly. 54% of employers have eliminated candidates based on what they found on their social media. More than half. Not because the candidate wasn't qualified, but because of what was online. The specific content that gets candidates rejected, inappropriate photos or videos, 40% of rejection. Posting about drinking or drug use, 36%. Discriminatory comments related to race, gender, or religion, 31%. And this one is highly underrated, friends. Publicly bad-mouthing a previous employer, 33% of hiring managers said that alone is enough to pass on a candidate. And if you think not having an online presence protects you, think again. 40% of employers say that if they cannot find a job candidate online at all, they are less likely to call that person in for an interview. Being invisible is also a liability. On the college side, 65% of admission officers say it's fair game to visit applicants' social media pages. 40% of admissions officers are actively researching applicants' digital footprints. And high profile cases of college acceptances being revoked after the offer was already made because of something found online happen every single year. One thoughtless post can undo 4 years of hard work, and that is the reality that we're living in. Now I want to talk about the traps because most of the digital footprint damage that I see does not come from people being bad. It comes from people being human in a space that doesn't allow for human complexity. So let's talk about pitfall number one, the controversial topic spiral. There are topics that feel urgent, that feel important, that feel like you have to say something, politics, social issues, current events, and sometimes you do have something meaningful to contribute. But when you are engaging online, especially publicly, you need to understand that you are not in a conversation. You are creating a record. The hot take that you fire off at midnight after reading something that made you angry is not a conversation. It is a document, and it will be read without your tone, without your context, without the nuance you might bring in person. What reads as passionate to you can read as aggressive, extreme, or unprofessional to someone who doesn't know you. This doesn't mean that you don't have opinions. It means that you understand the difference between speaking the truth and leaving a permanent record of your worst moments. Pitfall number two, the comment section trap. And I have been here. You did not post anything. You just commented on someone else's public post under your real name on a thread that now has thousands of views. Your comment is your content. Someone who finds that thread, a hiring manager, an admissions officer, a client, sees your words under your name and they have no idea what the original context was. They just know what you said. The comment section is the most underestimated danger zone in digital life. Pitfall number three, oversharing the personal. Venting online feels like relief. Posting about your frustrations at work, about a difficult relationship, about your mental health struggles, these can feel like connection, and sometimes they are. But every time you share something personal in public, you are handing that information to people you do not know for purposes you cannot control. Employers are allowed to, and do, factor this into their assessments, not always fairly, but they do. Pitfall number four, forgetting about old content. Remember those old Facebook days? Your digital footprint started the moment you made your first account. For a lot of us, that was as teenagers. Hello, MySpace, top 8. That was early Facebook. Hello, having a college email only to get into Facebook. That was a version of ourselves that we have long since grown past. But it's still there, and automated screening tools can surface it. Every year, there are stories of people, adults with careers, with families, who lose opportunities because of something they posted when they were 16 years old. The internet does not age you out of your past. And pitfall number five, assuming private means protected. Your private account is only private as the people who follow you. Screenshots travel. Tagged photos appear on public accounts. A private account with 800 followers is not a safe space. It is a semi-private space with 800 potential leaks. Okay, so I've given you a lot. Here's the actionable part. These are not complicated. They are simple, specific, and doable today. One, Google yourself. Seriously, right now or after this episode. Search for your full name. Search your name plus your city. Search your name plus your job or school. Look at every result on the first 2 pages. This is what a hiring manager or admissions officer sees. If there's anything that you feel uncomfortable explaining in an interview, is there an old profile from a platform that you stopped using? Is there a photo that you forgot existed? Now you know, and now you can address it. Number 2, audit your social media. All of it. Go back through your public posts, not just the last few months. Go back a year, 2 years. 3, ask yourself a simple question with every single post. Would I be comfortable if a hiring manager at my job saw this? If the answer is no, delete it, archive it, Make it private. This is not about erasing who you are. This is about understanding that the person making the decisions about your future does not have your context. They only have your content. Number 3, clean up and deactivate the accounts that you are not using. Every old account is a liability. An abandoned Tumblr from 2013, an old Twitter you haven't touched in 5 years, a forum account you created once and forgot about. Every one of those is a searchable record with your name attached. If you're not using it, deactivate it. If you can't deactivate it, scrub the content. Reduce your surface area. Number 4, build something positive and findable. Now, this is the flip side that most people skip. Cleaning up the negative is only half the work. The other half is building something intentional that shows up when people search your name. A LinkedIn profile that is complete, professional, and current. A portfolio of your work allows for it. Contributions to conversations in your field that demonstrate your thinking and your expertise. Even a simple, clean Instagram with content that reflects who you actually are professionally. You want to give people searching your name something good to find because they're going to search. You might as well curate what they see. Number 5, apply the pause before you post. This is the simplest tool and the one that will prevent most digital footprint damage if people actually used it. Before you post, before you comment, before you share, pause 10 seconds and ask yourself 3 questions. Is this true? Is this kind? And would I say this in a job interview? If the answer to any of those is no, sit with it, draft it, save it if you need to, but don't publish it yet because the version of you that exists online should be the version you are proud to be, not the version you were when you were most reactive. I teach this to my high school students, and I think this is the most important part of my curriculum because it affects their future and everything they plan to do. It is that simple and that powerful. So your digital footprint is not a future concern. It is a present reality being built right now with every single thing you do online. The good news, and there is really good news here, is that you have more control over this than you think. You can audit it, you can clean it up, you can build something intentional on top of it. What you cannot do is ignore it and hope for the best. Because 92% of employers are looking, admissions officers are looking, the world is looking. And the story your digital footprint tells about you should be the one you wrote on purpose, not one that wrote itself while you weren't paying attention. Thanks for listening to Smart with Screens. If this episode made you stop and think, good. Now share it with someone who needs to hear it. A student, a young person getting ready to enter the workforce, a parent who wants to have this conversation with their kid before the stakes are real. More resources and information about bringing digital literacy programs to your school or community are at bamdigitalmedia.info. I'm Schnelle Acevedo. Until next time, let's stay smart with screens.